Welcome to another episode of Are You Mad at Me?
For some reason.
Yeah, that was from Parks and Recreation, right?
What?
Follow me and bring your phones for no reason.
For no reason.
What's this, episode 24?
24.
2 dozen. I love it. Even numbers, baby. We got a big one today. It's pretty exciting. We got an interview later on in the podcast, and I got to say, we made a senior gentleman very, very happy. Randy's very young, so I'm not going to call him a senior, but I think it's safe to call Mike a senior because he's an octogenarian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got that coming up.
So
you got to stick around.
Nobody knows what you're talking about at this point.
Yeah, there's an interview. So we've got a couple of guests on.
Welcome to the Are You Mad at Me podcast. I'm Josh Morgan.
I'm Vickie Morgan. We should start right now.
Let's start right now.
Okay. Welcome.
I'll edit everything else out.
Welcome to episode 24. Congratulations, honey. Here, thanks for the beverages. Look at that.
Hot beverages.
Custom mugs. This was before we started making our own mugs.
That one came straight from Costco.
We don't make mugs. We put stuff on mugs. We buy blank ones. Anyway. But I bet if you're watching the video, you're going, what is on her head?
You turned it off.
It gets better. Oh, no. It's just so the big reveal.
Oh, you did that on purpose. I thought the batteries might have
Ready
died.
for this? These are my sons. I just thought we should get back in podcast mode to remind people. Okay, so
Did it say something?
it's pairing with the most closest Bluetooth, and apparently our neighbors are listening to
50 Shades of Grey, the audiobook.
Yeah, I'm just gonna turn that back off. Wash my ears. All right. Anyway, I just thought we should just remind people that it is a podcast, so let's keep it clean.
Keep it clean,
Because
people.
you don't know who's listening, right? You never know. And here we go. I'll try this hat for this week. How about this? What do you think of this one?
How do you turn these things off?
It's an on-off
Oh,
button.
there it is.
Give it to the crew. They're way better with tech.
Can you guys help us out here? You're just standing there.
They're doing a great job. Thank you. We appreciate everything that you're doing.
I'm going to fire some people like crazy after this episode.
Are you?
Yep.
All right. So we have no plan for this one. We had this interview now, I'd say, for about a week and a half, sitting in the hopper, and we've been doing meaning to do the intro and outro for, I don't know,
for the intro, for the interview.
It seems like the more ahead we get, the further behind we end up, because we think we have lots of time.
One time we did an episode like Thursday, and it was like, man, I didn't edit that thing till Tuesday night.
There's some kind of law about that, some dude's name or something like that, and it's like no matter if you have a block of time, you will spread it out.
Use it all up.
Yeah, so if there's something you could get done in a week, if you give somebody a month to do a week of work, they'll take a month to do it.
So our podcast is available Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. Newfoundland time, and it is currently 6:30 a.m. Newfoundland time on Wednesday when we're recording this.
No, it's not.
No, not really.
But we don't have a plan for this. So Josh, is, as usual, has no idea what I got in my brain that I thought about coming down over the stairs.
No.
But I was thinking, we were looking back through episodes the other day. Might have been through some clips. I thought it might have been on our YouTube channel or something. And I was looking back through all the clips. And I've offered a lot of medical advice without meaning to. There's a few different clips that you've posted.
Inadvertent medical advice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because we were talking about doing like a best of a bunch of clips for the 25th episode.
You should do a worst of.
Worst of.
The worst moments on our podcast. Like, this is the stupidest things we've said. And
I like that.
This is where we probably lost a few listeners and stuff like that. But anyway, I do have this idea, and I want to launch off from this because it's kind of my theme. I'm going to apologize to Josh. I have been kind of a nightmare to live with for the last, what's today? So at least a couple weeks. And here's why. Here's another little medical story. Did you know that, and I don't know if this is everywhere, I don't know if this is a process, but there's a certain age that women reach where sometimes you just get a letter in the mail and it says, go get your boobs squeezed. Yeah. I didn't ask for a mammogram.
And you were like, that happens all the time. Don't need to.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I know I asked for one last year, and then I just didn't go pick up the order. I had one done maybe 3 years ago. So anyway, got a letter just out of the blue, in the mail the other day without requesting it or anything. I know I missed it last year. Didn't think much of it, and I figured I should get around to that and call the doctor and ask him to send in another request for this year. Anyway, without any kind of prompting at all, this letter showed up in the mail, and I was like, oh, got a mammogram. So 2 weeks ago, went for a mammogram, And it was just the craziest day.
Was that 2 weeks ago?
It was 2 weeks ago. So we're walking back because I wanted to just decompress after leaving the hospital because hospitals freak me out. And so we just went for a walk and we ran into some of our best friends on the side of the road. It was the craziest thing. I was like, Josh, I was just exhausted. And I said, if we see anybody we know on the road today, just pull me away from the conversation. I don't have any spoons left. And we ended up running into everybody that we love. It was the wildest experience.
Yeah.
So it turns out in Newfoundland, possibly Canada, I don't know what the process is everywhere else, but did you know that cysts and tumors look exactly the same on a mammogram?
Cysts, totally normal. It happens all the time. Not a big deal. It's just a...
Yeah. So the process is if something shows up on your mammogram, the doctor calls you apparently the next business day and says, and leaves you a message and says, hey, I'll call you back later. So I, for an hour, was like, all right, I'm obviously dying. And so he calls me back and he goes, it's nothing to worry about, but they did find something in this spot. And I was like, oh, yeah, I can feel that. That's there. And he was like, yeah, so they think it's a cyst, but they're going to send you for an ultrasound. Now, I'm not a doctor. I've said that a few times. You can probably get a series of clips where I'm saying I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional.
Yeah.
Cysts can be diagnosed with an ultrasound because you can see what the lump is made up of. So, I don't know, again, not a doctor, but why don't they start with ultrasounds? Because ultrasound is just like a sound wave being bounced off your cells, and it bounces back, and it's a different, it shows up differently based on what it bumps off of. Not to be too technical. So, and the ultrasound is not invasive. It doesn't squeeze you. It's not uncomfortable. And it's limited, like radiation. Like there's no, it's a sonograph. It's a sono, what do you call it? Sonar. Yeah, it's sonar. So it's not an x-ray. So why don't they start with ultrasounds? That's just a question I have.
I think it's because ladies just like mammograms.
Do they?
They just enjoy them.
Is that what you've been told?
They were like, we're going to stop doing mammograms, do sonographs. What is it? Sonograms. And then women just everywhere were like, no,
enraged.
Keep them.
No, please. Squish them.
I want to get more mammograms.
Yes, that's what women wants. You have your finger on the pulse, man.
I know.
I hope people are tuning in.
I am a doctor.
Oh, yeah, you're a house of learned doctors. Anyway, just a suggestion to the medical establishment. Why don't you do ultrasounds first? I don't know. Just so you don't, because I'm going to posit this theory that I think people get cancer worrying, because I don't think it's good for your body to be stressed out and worrying about stuff, waiting for however long to get the next round of testing. So anyway, sorry, I know I've been an absolute nightmare, and I'm not using bad words because I know there's some people listening in their cars with their children. Oh my God, why not just send us for ultrasounds first? Like, why put you through, I don't know. Anyway, I have been climbing the walls, and I've been busy. Kind
of literally, because we've been painting our whole house.
I thought it'd be a good idea to get paint the entire house. So Josh is exhausted, and I'm like, this is great. Why don't we start another room? This is great. And then I just started moving stuff to another room, and Josh is like, okay, honey, because he is the ultimate partner. You're amazing. So sorry to put you through it, but I'm going to go back to, I think it might be the medical establishment's fault, because there's easier ways to do things, and I don't know why they put women through it. And it turns out, someone else told me that day that there's something called breast density. You can, like, some women have such dense breasts that the mammograms don't even work because they can't get into the thicker tissue or whatever. So now they're letting women know the density of their breasts. This is a brand new thing in Newfoundland. I didn't ask any kind of questions. I just went, sure thing, doc, I'll go for an ultrasound.
Squeeze away.
So, I mean, I was on it, and I think the thing that seems to follow me around is if I don't stay up at night worried about the test, that's when it hits. It's like, oh, I wasn't even worried about this. It was just like, whatever, stick them in, no big deal. And I know it sounds crazy to say that out loud, but I feel like the times that I have not been worried, you can read it in the books because it's in there.
Oh, here's what I'd like. Here's what I'd like for you to finish that thought. Wait, hang on.
Okay.
You when you don't worry, you feel like
it invites trouble.
What trouble? What trouble was invited in this current situation?
None. I don't know yet. No, probably nothing. It's probably nothing. But I can't imagine all these chemicals in my body right now worrying are good for me. So I would prefer to just, I don't know, not be worried.
Distract yourself, painting the house.
Painting the house, making bread,
going for walks
making
with the
chicken
kids.
stew, walking a lot. The kids are exhausted because I'm just walking like, let's do another lap. I'm going crazy. And I can't imagine that that's good for me. So anyway, another shout out to just a little bit of encouragement. Start a podcast, write the books. I have 3 books going right now. I have one just about finished. I'm almost ready to hit publish on one. Started 2 more. So really good for anybody that's a fan of Vickie Morgan.
Well, you started one.
I'm going to be putting a lot more stuff out.
One's almost done, and we were going back and forth about these 2 covers. We had two very different covers for the same book, and then the other day you were like, maybe this is just 2 books. So there's a different, like, it's not just a matter of having 2 different covers for one book. It was splitting this one book into 2 separate.
Well, there's 2 different. Feel. There's a different feel to each one. So the idea for me is the positive is my filter's gone. I have nothing left in the tank for worrying about what people think. So I put this like passive aggressive post on Facebook, like, how about I stop worrying about what I'm posting, and if you don't like it, get out and see yourself out, and blah blah blah. And I use some expletives. But it's like I feel like this every time you go back for follow-ups with the oncologist. You're 10 years out now, right?
This is 10 years, yeah. That's my last visit.
So I think the last time I didn't worry about a test was when you went into a urologist and was like, I just found a lump. And I was like, stop checking. And you were like, no, seriously, it's been a month. It's not going away. So within, like, in the U.S., when you found a lump, you were in surgery 2 days later.
Yeah.
And the only reason you weren't...
I think it was the next day.
You weren't... It wasn't the next day.
Because I couldn't do it that day because
you had Burger King for lunch.
But I could do it. I went in the next morning.
It was 2 days. So you called the doctor. He put you in for an ultrasound the next day. You couldn't have surgery that day. So it was the next day you went in for surgery, the next morning. So it was literally 2 days after you found... So, but I didn't worry. I wasn't worried back during that thing. And I just remember I was sitting in the car waiting for you to come out of the thing, and that song came on. I went skydiving, I went Rocky Mountain climbing, I went 2.7 seconds on something bull name Fu Man. Anyway, what is it?
Fu Manchu.
Live Like You're Dying. So that song gives me the heebie-jeebies, and I heard that, of course, the other day. So I'm like, oh, good choke right now.
I'm gonna go back again. You didn't worry,
and you had cancer.
Okay, so what happened?
Nothing. You had cancer.
It's
you
just
were
words.
awesome about it. They ripped out the...
I had surgery, and I got to be honest with you, I enjoyed it.
Oh, jeez.
Like, I was the center of attention for a couple of days. The surgery wasn't bad. They gave me drugs, and, I was a little uncomfortable for a few days, and I had a bandage, but nothing happened. I didn't have to have treatments. I didn't have, like, medicine I had to be taken. I didn't die.
You lost a testicle. And you had cancer,
cares? And
you have to do treatment. You've had to do follow-ups for 10 years.
But that's the thing. Like, I'm sure that I am extra healthy compared to somebody that doesn't get those follow-ups every single summer.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting but nothing's happened. Like, really, nothing. We can say Josh had cancer, but it's just words.
All right,
nothing
so let's go back
happened.
in the year before that, where I was like, we were cruising to an ultrasound, and I was like, it's fine. Let's figure out if it's a boy or a girl. And like, boom, dead baby. How about that time that I didn't worry?
Something happened then.
I mean, there's a few, like, it triggers all that stuff, right? Like, you put all the stuff on the shelf, and then it all falls down on top of you.
What I'm saying is it's not worry.
It's not
worrying
I'm
that
not
causes
saying,
it.
I don't think it's anything.
Being relaxed doesn't cause bad things to happen. Let's say that again. Being relaxed does not cause bad things to happen.
Do you remember the bumper sticker we saw on the way downtown the other day? I took a picture of it and sent it to our friend Daniil, and it said, talking about death won't make you die.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm freaking out for there's no reason to freak out except a call from the doctor, and we found a lump.
I know it's hard. It's like you can't just say relax.
No.
But we can focus on distractions and things that feel good and doing the podcast.
So one thing I didn't do is I didn't tell anybody who would freak out. Who would be like, "Oh my God."
You've made some very good phone call choices the past couple of weeks, I have to say.
I have been doing positive things. I have been, what would you call, taken a lot of leaps and actually going in the opposite direction. So I'm not calling to talk to anybody about it. Of course, I'm sharing on a podcast, but I feel like people that are listening to the podcast.
This is just our weekly therapy venting.
But this is our circle. Like, these are people that are following what we're doing and involved and, care and reach out.
This
and all
is
those
another
things.
good choice. This is self-care. Talking
Absolutely.
for an hour every
Highly
week.
recommend it. Absolutely highly recommend podcasting. It is amazing. The connections are amazing because people are getting to know us, and in turn we're getting to know other people. So I'm really excited about that part of it, and I'm excited about the books that are, and I don't know why I couldn't go back and like myself enough 2 weeks ago before I got the call from the doctor. That's what really gets on my nerves, is like, I could have been doing this the whole time. Just give myself permission to do what feels good. Like,
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm a pretty self-centered person to start with. Like, I'm all about self-care.
Self-care, that's important.
Because it's important. Like, I'm better for everybody around me if I'm taking care of myself. Like, it's not I think selfish is one of those dirty words that we don't even need to talk about. But I'm just mad at myself that, like, it took this. Like, couldn't I have just done this the day before and just avoided all this anyway? And just not answered my phone that day. My phone hardly ever rings.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I did send out a few. I did take a few jumps and risks, and, like, you know what? Because I've been going around for the last couple of weeks going, 1 minute I'm fine, and then the next minute I'm going, oh my God, this would just keep happening if I died. So I'm watching my kid.
Pull it together.
That's just it. Like, this can't be good. This can't be good for me. To be feeling like this, like to be on half cry all the time. It's not good for people. So, like, I don't know. I think the medical profession might make money off of sick people. I said it. I don't care. I know what I said.
How can you be so bold?
I'm not sorry.
I gotta say though, we painted like a third of our house. It's so like, and going along with. So here's the thing that I've noticed: when you see people on TV or movies or whatever painting their house, it's like, oh, I painted the house while you were at work today. Everything's back to normal except it's beautiful and all the walls are a different color. It's kind of a nightmare. Like, because they don't show you, like, pull the couch away from the wall to paint that wall, and it's like, oh, now I got to clean up all these toys and dog toys and slippers, and then there's a whole layer of dog hair under that, and then I got to wash the baseboards behind. It's like we haven't even started painting yet, and I'm ready to take a nap. But I'm just saying it's nice to have some of it done.
Yeah.
And we've been listening to old country music on the Bluetooth speaker well into 1-2 o'clock in the morning.
3 hours in the morning. Yeah.
While we're painting.
John Connolly is getting a whole lot of plays on Spotify. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Because he is therapy for the soul. But it's been a week. It's been a couple of weeks, and we're chugging along.
Yeah.
It's gonna be all right. It's
definitely gonna be all right.
One way or the other, it's going to be fine. Like, it's fine. It's just been stressful. And so I feel like I'm just really amped up and really motivated, or not inspired. Not inspired. Because I do things when I feel inspired. This is like motivated. Like, oh my God, look at all these projects that I meant to finish. And the good news is that I have kind of, I've moved on some projects that I wanted to move on. And some of them had to be put to bed because it's like, you know what? This is not going anywhere. This person not interested in doing this thing with me, so let's just move on. And so that's
important.
It's a little easier to go, I don't know how much. I don't mean to be morbid, but none of us knows how much time we got. Seriously.
Yep.
So waiting around on stuff that it just isn't moving, someone is not responding or not interested or whatever. Like, you know what? If you're not on the Vickie train, get out of the way. Really, that's okay. But I hate that I had to have something like that give me permission. And I wish I could go back in time and say to myself, my 2-week younger self than I am right now, you don't know. You don't know when that stuff can happen. And it's probably fine. That's really true. Like, it probably is fine. I'm healthy. I mean, there's no risk factors. I breastfed. There's no history of it in my family. I mean, there's no risk factors. But it's just like, okay, well, it's hard to argue with the doctor. And I don't even subscribe to that. I think there's, stuff shows up. And again, it's probably a cyst.
Yeah.
Anyway.
100%.
I've talked about that enough. I'm going to try to move on now. Or we might need to pause. And I might need to collect myself and do a few laps around the outside of the house or something. But
well, we got some pretty exciting stuff coming up. We're playing a show this week.
Yes. We're playing the ECMAs.
We're playing the ECMAs, the East Coast Music Association week here in St. John's. And we're playing at the Delta Hotel on... What is it, Wednesday?
Fancy. That sounds fancy.
Yeah.
No. Thursday.
Thursday.
We're there on Thursday on the 8th. So this coming out on Wednesday. So not sure what's going on with the ECMAs in Newfoundland. This is we're the host province this year, and I don't know. They made a lot of people mad. They should come on. Every single person at the ECMAs should come on. Are You Mad at Me? And talk about who they made mad over the last little while, because apparently a lot of people are boycotting it. And you know, the boycotts are just the ultimate way to get stuff changed, isn't it? It just helps everybody, right?
I think you're being sarcastic.
I am being very sarcastic. Boycotts are like is my least favorite word. It's like, has it changed anything ever? Nope, not a bit. So we have been invited to play at this boycotted ceremony that people, you know, a whole lot of arts money went into it, and we were invited to play. Josh, we had a little funny exchange the other day where Josh sent me a text. And he said, "Hey, check this out. There's a backline at the Delta."
We got an email from the ECMAs saying, "Here's all the information about everybody that's playing throughout the week in St. John's. All the artists. Here's all your information." And then so it was like all these different venues. Here's what we're gonna have set up. Here's what you can use and times and all that stuff. And it was like the Delta. They have this kind of bass cab, this kind of bass amp, this kind of guitar amp available. I think there was a drum set. Like it was a whole backline. Like everything that a band would need to just show up and hook their instruments in and start playing. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be great.
He sent me a screenshot.
We usually just hook a acoustic guitar into a PA and go. And
we're going to have a bullhorn that I sing into.
Yeah, we're just real loud.
Yeah.
But I sent a message to Vickie, and I was like, this is exciting. Like we got all this. This is going to be fun. And Vickie was like, nope. That's for the people playing in the ballroom, the actual shows that are happening. We're playing in the lobby.
And here's how glamorous it is. It's very explicit instructions. We have to load in, sound check, play. So it's a 20-minute gig. It's paid, but it's a 20-minute gig. We have to do an interview, play, and do a post-interview, set up, sound check, and load out in 20 minutes. Very explicit instructions that the next group or band or singer has to get up. Their time is exactly 20 minutes after we start. So it's, again, I'm going to go over the list again. Set up, sound check, interview, play, interview, load out, 20 minutes. Super glamorous. With no backline, no monitors.
So I was like, are you sure they even asked us to be here?
I thought it'd be funny to show up now. In all respect to the ECMAs, never had a look in, but whatever. It's a jury of my peers said that my stuff was garbage. So I'm glad
they didn't use those words.
I didn't make it in, and everybody else did, and you had to pay to put the application. Do people know that? Is it common knowledge that these award ceremonies, like, you submit your material with an application, and you have to put in your own, like, Vickie and Josh are an eclectic mix of John Prine and John Conley and Janis Joplin. You submit to that, like, you submit it. So anybody that says, I'm so shocked. No, you're not. You sent the application. Like, come on. But I got completely froze out, and I haven't submitted anything. I haven't made any music, actually, since we put out our first EP 3 years ago.
Yeah, we haven't. Only 2. It's only 2 years ago.
Are you sure?
Yeah. We did the CD release was in 2023.
Yeah.
Yep.
So why was I talking about that?
We're just talking about playing the show with the ECMAs.
No, it was something else. I was on a I'll have to go back and check the... Can we check with the crew?
We'll check the notes.
What was I talking about? No, it was something about the ECMAs. Were you listening? I have to... Are you mad at me?
Not as close as you were listening.
It'll come back to me. It doesn't... Nobody wants to listen to Dead Air right now, so... You talk about something, and I'll think about what I was thinking about.
I'll cut it from here, and then here's where we come back.
What was I talking about?
So we're playing at the ECMAs. We're playing at the Delta Hotel in downtown St. John's this Thursday at like 2, right? 2 to 2:20 or something. So if anybody's in town, you want to come by and see us, that's where we'll be playing. That's our first show of the year, and I'm sure there'll be lots more. We'll be on George Street this summer again, I'm sure. And I'm just here by myself now, just chatting. Just chatting away.
I am. So this is when my mental illness shows up, is when I'm under stress. It's like my memory kind of goes and I blank out a lot more than I usually do. I have no idea what I was talking about. I was headed somewhere positive talking about the ECMAs. I just can't remember what I was going to say. Anyway.
Well, so
that's coming up. There's going to be lots of awards and all those things, and it was something positive. I mean, I was going down a negative road about how I got squeezed out. Anyway, but we are making more music.
Yes.
That is the positive. It's a...
We got a whole pile of songs just waiting to be recorded.
We do. And we went to another songwriter circle last week, and it was a lot of fun. And it's nice to hear stories of how songs get made and what they were thinking about when they wrote it and all those sorts of things. And,
yeah, that's always fun to hear.
It's a pretty rare occasion for me to not like somebody at a songwriter circle.
Yeah, that's true.
Like usually people win you over.
Yeah.
It's kind of even if it's someone you can't stand.
Yep.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what else?
Yeah, no, that's it. That's it for this week.
It's not. There's lots more. So this is, you guys already know Sparky and maybe. What else? So,
stop it. So we do have a book that we are currently helping somebody publish. Mike Boyle is the author, and he's going to be. We did an interview with Mike and his co-author Randy when we got the first draft with the graphic design and the cover done and the formatting all done on the inside, and so we did an interview with them, and we're gonna. That's this episode. Yeah. That's what we're doing today.
So, and I don't know if we want to post this and do a poll or something like that, but we did, I'm here now. I just returned.
Good. Yeah. Welcome back.
Thank you. So the book that I'm writing is about self-publishing, and it's got like a breakdown of what you need, basically. Like everything that we have helped Michael with, and Tina Madigan, of course. I put into like chapters, and it's kind of like another memoir, which is like, my God, are you seriously going to write another memoir? Is this your third? Like, you know what? I could put one out every 3 months if I want to.
David Sedaris does it.
Exactly. He tours the world and reads his essays, and people
stuff that's happening in his life.
They fill theaters to listen to him read his writing. So, I'm a big fan of David Sedaris, and so, I've written it. So that idea, I'm really excited about who we have on also next week. Hannah Slay is a mom. She is a comedian. She's an actress. She is a writer, and
Canadian, married to an American.
She's Canadian, married to an American, but she also has gotten back into writing, and she's a fantastic writer. And so I'm really inspired by people who are like tiptoeing back into the water. And she has young kids who are like tugging on her day and night for what they need, because they're needy at that age.
Yeah.
And she's still finding time to write and engage, and I'm really, really looking forward to talking to Hannah, because it's like you need to surround yourself with people who get it, who really are doing the brave things, and forget the opinions of people who are disagreeing with what you're doing or don't like what you're doing, or forget them. I'm really struggling to not say bad words. It's a struggle, but I'm doing it because I'm going to try to keep it very, very clean. The ideas are certainly not clean. I'm just going to keep swear words out of it because it's easier for the crew, of course, to do captions.
Stop. Just 1 second.
Yep.
Okay.
I will say that hiring us to consult and publish your book is very, very expensive. I do feel a little... I know it's worth it, but when we did our books for free, I feel very ambivalent about charging somebody to do the formatting. And
you definitely didn't do your own books for free. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of learning. It took a lot of education and experience that you already had.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, I think that some people that would write a book, it would really benefit them to have somebody else do the formatting. Yeah. They don't have to worry about it. Yeah. Somebody else do the graphic design.
I do see the value in what we've done and what we're able to do for people. It's just, I feel like I want to offer another option, because we managed to learn all the stuff, and we did, hundreds of Google searches. So I want to have the resource there just in case somebody is like, you know what, I just don't have any money, but I have these things that I want to share. So the book that I've been working on for the last, I guess since the new year came in, is chapters on all the pain points when people are trying to self-publish. And there is a few things that are a little intimidating and can stop someone from following through on the next step and, kind of walk away from the computer and go, that's it, I can't, it's too much. So the book is basically like an anecdote and then an instruction. And so it got way longer than I expected it to. I thought I was going to do like a mini book and do 50 pages. And so I'm up to like 120. And we were trying to decide with the covers, because both of them are, I like both covers. So one of them is, we should do a poll. Can you do a poll? Do you know if there's a way to, I know YouTube can do it.
You can on Spotify, yeah.
Okay, so let's do a poll. Can we put pictures up for people to vote on, or should we?
I don't know. I think we can do a question.
All right. So here's the question. I can do... One of the books would be called How to Be a Famous Sexy Writer. I am one of those three things. Guess which one. So
all three.
But I've got this great cover, and Josh did a great job with it. And it's a picture of me, like, with, you know, nothing on from the waist up. You can't see anything because Josh strategically placed the letters. But it's a, you know, somewhat whatever.
It's a thirst trap.
Risky. Yeah, it's a thirst trap. It really is. The other cover is an eye chart. You know, those eye charts where it's big letters on top and then it gets smaller progressively, and there's like a green line and a red line so people can figure out if they're colorblind or not. So that cover is How to Fail at Self Publishing, based on How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking, which is based on How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking, the TV series that never got made, and then an itty bitty writing on the very bottom by Vickie Morgan, which I think is really cute because it's like, you know, most people have these wonderful egos and they want their name bigger than everything, and mine, ironically, is the smallest. So who could argue with that? Remember in that scene in Psycho where the fly is on Norman Bates's hand, and he's like, I bet, and he's in his mom's voice, and he's like, look at her, I bet they're watching me, and they're like, look at her, she wouldn't even hurt a fly. Anyway, that's what I imagine when people see the little tiny writing at the bottom. So I'm trying to decide between putting one of the covers on the back as a little joke and saying this was supposed to be the cover, or do we do two separate books where one is, because again,
so that's kind of the decision we were talking about the other day. Like, you can write one book that's actually informative and would help somebody to go through the process of self-publishing, and then a second book that is more of a memoir about you self-publishing your books and for other people and that sort of thing. So like one would be more
instructional.
Like one would be instructional, educational. The other one would be like a memoir.
I want them. I want both of them to be. Some people receive information in different ways. So one person might want a 30-page book that's like page by page with pictures of what you're going to see on KDP, and I think the other one I receive education better. I learn a lot better when there's a story. Like I need what's that called?
Like social stories.
Social stories, yeah. So I learn better when I have something to relate it to, and like this happened to this person, and this is what they ran into. So I think there might be two books there. And there's a couple of other books floating around that we've been kind of talking about doing for a long time. So I'm having fun. And the idea of self-publishing is like, why am I making it like, it would take a long time to publish a book if I went to one of the major publishers. I mean, they'd have to say yes first, but let's pretend that would happen.
It's a long process, I would imagine.
But it's like, book every couple of years. But like, I don't need to be at that. I can self-publish. I can put out a journal. I can put out a meditation journal. I can put out an inspirational quotes. I can do a coloring book. I mean, Nicole was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. She put out 19 books in all the different languages. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
If you can just click publish, why wouldn't you?
Right.
So so the plan is to release these books, and we've got a big signing coming up at the Avalon Mall later in June, so I'm hoping to have them ready for that. But the idea is to also, for every single chapter, for every instructional chapter, that there would be a video you can go to on YouTube where I'll say, here's the thing, and like it's basically me reading the chapter to somebody and showing with screenshots and like actual video,
using it as like a teaching aid,
supplemental. So and again, that's another teaching tool. It's some people receive better with anecdotal information, some people want just facts, and other people maybe need visuals. So I think being an adult educator kind of comes in handy with that. And at the end of the day, the fourth option is you hire me.
Yeah.
And I'll do it, but I am expensive. It's worth it, but I'm expensive. I apologize in advance, but I am going, like, I don't have a discount for friends and family. That is, like, I'd probably charge more if it was friends and family, because who needs that headache? But I do love the idea of people having platforms to tell their story, whether it's whatever your story is. If you feel compelled to share it, not everybody feels that way.
Yeah.
Not everybody feels like they want to be on the radio or sharing their story. Some people are very happy, doing other things, fixing pipes, fixing cars, painting, raising children, cooking, baking, like
beekeeping.
Sure.
You haven't used that one for a while.
Yeah, I haven't mentioned Nancy in a long time. I've been after my friend Nancy Squires for a long time to do a book on beekeeping, because she's a brilliant artist. She also does beekeeping. She takes these beautiful photos, and she also is a brilliant painter, and her paintings are gorgeous. So I'm really hoping she's going to do something one of these days. And again, if I just send her a link and say, look, here's some free videos how to self-publish, then it doesn't feel like I'm selling to her. Because when I encourage people, sometimes I think it kind of, there's like this underlying thread of, are you just trying to get me to hire you? Like, no, I'm not. I want to pass on how good it feels to have somebody read your book and reach out, quick email and say, I loved your book.
Yeah.
It made me laugh. It made me cry. I didn't feel so alone. Or your book sucked and I'm going to write my own and it's way better than yours. I don't care. Whatever gets you there is,
right.
We're all in it together.
It's funny. You're talking about like taking information in different ways. I've noticed like whenever we look something up on the internet to learn how to do something, especially if it's a step-by-step, like how to do something in an Adobe Photoshop or how to fix something with the computers or the video games or something like that. There's always the first responses on Google are always videos.
Yeah.
And it's like a 10-minute video on some guy, changing the settings in whatever computer program. And it's like, I can't do that. Like I need to go to a website with words.
Oh, I want the video.
So I can skip through and skim the words. And but like I find that when I'm watching somebody do it, I zone out or whatever. But
wow.
Like I usually skip the videos and just go down to like the actual website with text so I can read. I'm
the exact opposite. I want to know what I'm supposed to see on my screen. I'm like a senior citizen in that way. I mean, that's what I feel like. That's what happens with older folks is you need to tell them like you're going to see a blue button here, whatever. I love the visuals, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's even a thing on Google now where we don't work for Google, by the way. I mean, it'd be great if they sponsored the podcast.
Just observations.
Just an observation, but it'll actually say if you're trying to do page numbering, it'll show you exactly where to go in the video, which is another benefit of putting chapters in there. So it'll actually say, if you start at 153, it'll tell you exactly that thing you need. And
I like that, but I hate the idea that first 30 seconds that it told me I could skip over, what if there was something in there that I needed? I could have read that.
Oh, honey, that's OCD. That's why we started an 8-Land podcast from the very beginning, because I'm afraid I'm going to miss a joke or some news and like that, and to be fair, they started off going, hey, folks. Then they started doing, hello, folks. Then they started doing, hey, bear. I love all that.
You forgot let's go, folks.
And if I went to a show and everybody around me was going, hey, bear, and I didn't know, I would feel very sad.
What are they talking about?
And then I'd go home and watch them all. And we're like, oh, I missed out on a chance to say, hey, bear. I don't know. I want to be a part of it. That's a group that I'm interested in. I want to be in on the jokes.
Yeah.
Because it's a nice experience.
Yeah. Anyway.
But so that is the plan, is to and I've given myself permission, because all those little maggots get in your brain and they're like, who would want to know that? And you don't know what you're talking about. And the other thing too, if you're interested in starting a YouTube channel and doing instructional videos or sharing or doing mini courses or workshops or whatever, if you Google what you're going to do, there's thousands of people already doing it, probably better than you.
Yeah.
That's terrible. That feels awful.
Yeah, but that means that there's people that have made the mistakes that you don't want to make.
I don't know, maybe. So like when I look up how to do like a double crochet or a treble crochet or whatever, there are thousands of people who have already done it. And sometimes I don't like the sound of somebody's voice.
Yep.
Or they have like really long acrylic nails, which grosses me out.
You're going to do it your way, and nobody's done it. Nobody's been you doing it yet.
That's a good way to look at it. And if I wasn't going to write a book because, somebody else
books have already been written.
There's a library. There's an entire library of people who thought they had a great idea for a book, and, they're collecting dust, and there's new ones coming out every year. So that says...
So, like, we talked to Blaine last week, and he was talking about his great-grandfather, or however far back he was, that was in the Great White Fleet in the Navy in the early 1900s. Like, he said there was 5 books that he knew of that had been written about that topic, and he has already read 4 of them, and he's writing another one.
Number
like
6.
So this is like obviously it's been covered, right? But no, not from Blaine's perspective, not about his grandfather and all. He's got all these postcards that he can share, and it's like a different perspective, a different
and who is going to read it because of Blaine writing it is a whole new audience. They're not people who are going to go to the library and check out those books. But I did see an update on Blaine's family research. Thanks again to Blaine for being on the podcast. What a sweetheart. Our numbers exploded last week.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Great
he posted it everywhere.
Marketing.
Yeah. He posted it everywhere. We were commenting on each other's stuff. It really boosted in the algorithm, and it was really great. But he did post the other day that he is in the proofreading stage of the book on the Great White Fleet.
No way.
So very excited
That's
about
fantastic.
that. Yeah, and he had pictures. It was on Instagram. He had pictures laid out of the other books and some of the postcards and the manuscript. And it was
really good.
Really encouraging to see that, because it just makes me feel so good to see people sharing their stories and getting it out there. I mean, I like money. Don't get me wrong. I love money. You can hire me for anything.
Money's great.
But it is really nice to see people doing that. And, there's a whole other side of things, too, where it's like, so are you done with this and are you done with that? Like, are you never doing comedy again? Are you never going to perform again?
It's okay to do many things, multiple things.
Yeah. And I've been kind of having conversations in my head about, like, when you make a new friend, you're kind of, I don't know, do you pre-plan conversations? I don't know if everybody does that. But I've been like, telling this new person in my brain, well, it didn't work out for me with comedy because, and it didn't work out with my first book or my second book. And it's like, I've been telling myself those, like, and I keep talking myself into the same corner, painting myself in the corner, if you will, of like, oh my God, what am I doing? Why did I so somebody didn't put me on their show, or they didn't include me. There was a big showcase here a few weeks ago. They were coming, Just for Laughs came to town, and they did a showcase to find new talent. Like, okay, A, I'm new, and B, I'm not getting any younger. So I don't know how many years I'm going to be around, like, of, still being new, because eventually I'm going to be a senior citizen, I get on the senior tour or something like that. But I was really hurt. And it was like, so you're not going to do comedy anymore? So I haven't written a joke in a long time. But I did start the other day. We were out somewhere and I was telling you like, oh, put that in your phone. It was a joke, but I hope you did write that stuff down because I forgot it. But it's one of those like, so you're not going to write a book because your last one didn't sell 10,000 copies? Or someone rejected you, or someone said a snarky comment about it. Like, you're never going to write again? Like, what a waste of a life.
Yeah.
Really. And here I am raising children, encouraging them to be their best selves and follow through and follow your dreams. And I'm going, oh, but somebody didn't like my last book. Who cares? Anyway, I say some of this sometimes so I can listen back later and go, oh, you know what? She's right.
That lady's right.
It comes from a different place sometimes. I feel like the podcast is my absolute best authentic self because it's like, I don't know, I feel like there's important people listening when it's only me listening on a regular day when I'm just talking to myself. Yeah? Hi, sweetheart.
Well, I think we should talk to Mike and Randy about the book that we're helping them with.
Do you think that?
I do.
Very excited about Mike's book. It's coming out very, very soon. We just got the final draft in the mail today. So that is going to be, we'll keep you posted on but it was pretty exciting because they had been working on it for a very long time and they got to see the first draft right here on the couch.
In
it was
book
pretty
form.
Sweet. So this is Randy Crane and Mike Boyle on the Are You Mad at Me podcast. Stick around. We got a few more things when we come back from that interview. So yeah, this is Mike and Randy. All right, boys, I think I surprised you today. Welcome to the Are You Mad at Me podcast. I'm not sure if they knew this was going to happen today, but this is the beauty of working with Vickie and Josh is, you never know what's going to happen. So this is on this to my whatever right here next to me. This is Randy Crane and this is Michael Boyle, and Josh and I have been working with Randy and Mike now for the last I don't know, how long has it been? Yeah. So we initially met back in, I guess, October, November, when you guys had just finished the manuscript for Mike's book On New Turf. So, boys, tell me about the process, because you wrote this book. Tell me why there's two people here. Tell me how that process kind of happened and how you came together to put the book together, and what was the process for you guys writing the manuscript and getting it finished.
Well, first of all, I should say I was working in memoir. And with memoir, I got all kinds of experiences growing up in Ireland and growing up on the shore. And I met Randy. I think we met at Tim Hortons once. And we talked about writing. And that was maybe 5-6 years ago.
Yes.
At least 5 or 6 years ago. We were doing a bit of writing. And I had an editor at that time, Paul Butler, up in Alberta. But Randy was really interested in the process. And I got him to... We met a couple of times. Now, Randy, you might pick up from there.
Well, we met Mike in 1968.
Oh, yes, I forgot that.
That's right.
Way back.
Mike was my high school teacher in 1969. We met in Gander in 1968 through cross-country running.
Oh, okay.
But and we stayed lifelong friends. So when Mike told me that he was writing a book, writing his memoir, I said, I'm in. Anything you need, any help you need, I'm there. And that turned into 2 or 3 years of work.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And fun.
So you must have been a pretty young teacher then, because you're not that different in age. So
Oh,
you
well.
must have been one of those young teachers that was kind of hip and cool with all the students, right?
Interesting enough, I had Baltimore. I remember this come up in one of the reunions. One of the students mentioned that one of the things that made Baltimore work was there wasn't a big age difference between the teachers and the students. I might have been 24, 25, and most of the people would have been, 15, 16, 17, type of thing like that. And they were a special group. The group in Baltimore, and I think I've mentioned that a few times, maybe Randy, or did I leave that out? I can't remember if I left that out. No. They were a special group of people, special group of people, and it was really fun to work with Randy. But it's also hard work sometimes too, because Randy, you might pick it up in understanding me.
Well, Mike, I'm not going to claim that I understand you, but it's a tribute to our lifelong friendship that we could work together for a couple of years, sometimes intensely, and argue sometimes over a word or a sentence, and we stayed absolutely lifelong friends. And Mike had a series of stories. He had about 50 or 60 or 70 stories, and we had to make it into a book somehow. So that's the process. We're both storytellers, and we wanted that voice to come across. And some of the people who've read the memoir have told us they could hear the storyteller's voice coming through it. A testament to Mike's great storytelling ability and to my background.
Yeah. So you guys are heavily involved in the St. John Storytellers. Like you do this, as a hobby or as an interest, but you're both,
Well,
storytellers.
I was involved with St. John's Storytelling way back years ago, but then it became modernized. They had a special workshop about 4 or 5 years ago, and it made it a real professional thing.
Yes,
and that's when Randy came on board, and a number of other great storytellers. There was a time you could have dropped down and told a story just without any preparation, but storytelling has evolved, and it's an art form. I was anxious in the memoir to have that Randy just mentioned, the authentic voice, that I had growing up, and also had in Newfoundland, and with the memoir, a lot of the things in the memoir is about a place and a time that's gone, and people too, sadly. I think you'd agree with that.
I think it's a pretty unique story too. Like that back in those days, that's when my parents were in school as well. And the fact that you went to high school at Baltimore and didn't go farming or fishing, or that you stayed in high school and had a high school teacher that was, because my parents tell me stories about how they had teachers who would smack them and they quit school at grade 7 and grade 8 and 9. So the fact that you even went through and finished is a
yes,
says a lot about the Southern Shore.
In my father's time. Dad always said he went as far as Tom's Dog in school. That was the book that they were reading when he quit school in grade 2 to go help out with his father with fishing.
Yes, that was kind of how it was at the time. So it is a very different.
And Mike arrived in Baltimore High on the Southern Shore the year after it was open, and it was the first time that all of the students from the different communities, from Cappy-Hayden to Brickus, got together and actually started to know each other.
Okay.
It was a great time to be in school on the Southern Shore, absolutely.
And it comes across in the book. This was just going through the manuscript and what we did with it. I hate it for it to end. I wish it was 900 more pages. The stories, it's not a chronological thing. It goes back and forth. There's a lot of stories based in Ireland, and there's a lot and your life, Mike, has been absolutely fascinating. And you came over as a teacher, and you're just, the stories in there, like, it's so vivid and such a great voice in there that you can really feel like you're in the story yourself, and you just did such a great job. And I'm so thrilled. We were so thrilled. And when Josh went through, of course, Josh did the cover and some of the graphic design inside there and stuff, and he was the same way. Like we can't fit him in the shot. He's here. He's just off the screen here. Josh, you want to poke your head into the shot? And we've got, of course, our regular crew is here, and we've got some public relations people here.
Hello there.
Thanks for being here, guys. They work so hard. It's fantastic, and it was just such a great experience. So I'm gonna ask for a little bit of a plug here for us, because we're into episode 20. We're up in the 20s. Have been half a year. We've been telling people about self-publishing. It's not an easy way to go. It's definitely something you can do yourself. You can go do all the research, and you can practice and get through all the steps yourself. But it is a hard thing. Just like anything, you really have to learn every step along the way. And it is a hard thing. And all the little nuance, like all the little obstacles and barriers that kind of get in the way will stop somebody from continuing on and making sure there's an actual copy of the book in their hands. So when we first met, of course, we sat down and talked. I told you about the self-publishing process was, and I believe you went home that day and got invited to a local event to pitch to a bunch of publishers, the traditional publishers. And so it was, what was that like, Mike, to have this beautiful manuscript in your hands? You both believed in it very, very strongly. What was it like to make that decision between because you this was not your only option. It's a great book. It will sell itself. What was that decision for you to? What was it like for you to decide to self-publish? What was the benefit to you?
I think with the publishing with the publishers, there was a kind of sort of you're on a queue in a sense that, maybe 3, 4, I'm sort of 420. So there was a queue. There was a queue maybe of 4 or 5 years that you'd wait,
yes.
perhaps.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that really put me off. With the regular publishers type of thing like that, I think that, different strokes for different folks, but with the publishers, that length of time and delay. And I think the other thing is to, by having, self-published, we'll be able to sort of market the book. I think there's 2 things that happen. One is that you write a book, and probably the second thing, and maybe just as important a way, is to have you folks out there read it. You would agree with that, Randy?
Yes, for sure. And the other thing about publishing that we've discovered is that it's very personal, and you need to have to be involved with people who can be interested in your book, and just as excited as you are when a new copy arrives. And we found that with you guys, that's exactly what we had, and we were surprised, really. But we probably shouldn't have been knowing you guys and your background. But that was a big plus for Mike to be involved with personally with people who had an interest, an invested interest in his work.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Josh and I have been through that process a couple of times ourselves with our own books, and it is really like to pass that over to somebody, or to even send out query letters to a bunch of publishers and hope that they like your story enough is just so. I mean, it could crush you when the rejections are heartbreaking. And then the other side of it, too, is that a publishing company, generally speaking, even the smaller ones here, they put out 20 books a year. So not only are you in a queue waiting for yours to come up, but there's 20. And so they are not doing marketing, and they're not. That's not to say they're not adding a personal touch to every single person, but you are one of 20. So maybe there's an ad around Christmas time that says, hey, this is one of the 20 books we published this year. But there is definitely something. But it is way more expensive. I mean, you could have just passed it off and said, here you go, here's the manuscript, and they would have treated you like a king. I don't know if you knew that or not. But for those, until they get your book on the shelves, you are a king, and you don't spend a penny, and they send you a nice advance, and you don't get that money back until they sell a certain amount of books. And, of course, the percentage that you get in your pocket from each copy is this big with a publisher, and with a self-publishing. Of course, when we're finished with the manuscript, it will be passed over to you, and the profits go directly to you. So this one here this is the first draft that we did, and it came from the manuscript that you guys had printed. You typed it up in Microsoft Word. But Microsoft Word, I don't know if anybody knows this. I've done other books that were done on like an iPad, Google Docs, and things like that. Even done in Microsoft Word, formatting the book to make it printable for KDP, for Kindle Direct Publishing, is a nightmare. I don't know what hellion made Microsoft Word or who came up with the programming for it, but it is awful. So if you move something in the beginning page, it moves stuff later on, and then the page numbers, table contents are some of the most frustrating things I've ever encountered in my life. But anyway, so we got a first draft out, and then the next step, of course, was to design the cover. So tell me about the cover art. We haven't opened up the draft, but this is the first one that came out. This is the first, and it says right across, not for resale, and this does not have the cover art on it. So that was the first draft, and we received the next draft with the cover art and all that in place. And I'm excited to present that to you guys today because I know you're going to love it. But tell me about the cover art, because this is a very special story. It appears in the book also. Tell me about the cover art and who did it and how that happened, how that came to be.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. Talk about serendipity. We talked about the Southern Shore. Back in the 70s, when I was teaching up in the Southern Shore, I had to teach art. And I had an idea of, getting some of the local people to come into the school. Because when I looked around, everybody up there was an artist. Everyone. You probably agree with that, Randy.
absolutely,
Everyone.
yes.
Maggity.
The Barnables.
Maggity. That's our favorite
all
word on the
kinds of
podcast.
people. They were all artists. And I sort of had a number of the people.
And you weren't.
I wasn't. I had a bit of basic training, but I wasn't an artist, far from it. And I thought I would get some of the people to come in, and help out. And I when some people come in, I would go take my suitcase, my old suitcase there, go to the back of the room and observe. But when Jerry Squires came along, Jerry was different. Jerry had just moved. It just moved around by that time from the lighthouse. And I saw him one day when I was out jogging. You probably saw Jerry around a lot too.
Oh, yes. Yeah. When we were young teenagers, Jerry...
He lived in the where? In the lighthouse?
Residence in the lighthouse.
In the lighthouse. So I asked Jerry to come to one of the art classes or to teach a class for me. And when Jerry walked into the classroom, he said, Mike... you stay in your desk there. You stay in your desk. I didn't know what he was doing. He had a whole collateral of foolscap and all kinds of paintings and watercolor, and he told the students, to cubby down. And of course, it was kind of embarrassing because I had sort of, as a teacher, you always, at that time, you like to have control of the classroom. And I didn't have control. And I used to say to the class, quiet please, and as if anyone was listening. As if anyone was listening.
We weren't.
They weren't
Please.
listening at all. And Jerry started working away a few brush strokes, and the kids knew this was going to be something special. And I stood behind as Jerry started putting on sort of watercolors and then soaking it up, and I couldn't see what he was actually doing as such. But then something magical happened. The noise of the classroom got less and less. I could just sort of feel my heart beating, type of thing like that, and I felt a bit more relaxed. Jerry had mesmerized the class. It mesmerized me, and then when he was finished, he took up the painting itself and showed it to the class and showed it to me, and the class started out, clapping. You know what I mean? It was just in about 25 minutes, and I thought that was a special event.
And
you better pick that up,
and it was you.
Randy.
Well, that you didn't tell him that he was painting a picture of you.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, he captured
Oh,
Mike
my.
Boyle
Absolutely beautiful.
in the 1970s, probably. Mike, was it?
Yes.
Early 70s.
Yeah, my mother didn't like it. Some very serious kind of thing, that type of that. But it was a kind of a different kind of picture. But there was something I think when I look back at it, there was something very reflective about the painting itself.
Oh yes. No, it's a haunting
Beautiful.
picture. But
And so that would have been in what year do you think that was,
In the
Mike?
early 70s.
Early 70s.
74, 73, 74.
But Jerry Squires and Stuart Montgomery, Manny Buckite, Don Wright, these people were the very first people we ever saw on the Southern Shore who could make a living not fishing or being labourers. They were making a living on their own creativity.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, it was started a renaissance up the Southern Shore because it's full of artists and
amazing.
poets and singers and
And then
storytellers and writers.
And it's
right
not
now.
really that kind of culture when everybody's real manly and, hauling knits and building houses and all that stuff.
No.
For somebody to be a creative artist must have been a big shift.
And it was a struggle for them. I mean,
I bet
they
it
were
had
a
to be
lot of
very
years
difficult.
before they saw the fruits of their labor, for sure.
Yeah, but it made it. I think it may probably open the door for, like you said, a lot of other artists to be comfortable and to not feel like they were failing because they weren't playing hockey or because they weren't, hauling wood or whatever those things are.
So when Mike was looking for a cover for his book, this one, which the picture was sitting in his house for 50 years, and he picked the right cover
and
for his
never
book.
ever
for sure.
any intention of putting on a book. Jerry Squires did not come into your classroom to do your book cover.
Never.
Amazing. And so, of course, Jerry Squires' family, Jerry passed away a number of years ago, and his family has been very gracious and has given you a written official permission to use the cover.
Yes, indeed.
And so, Randy, do you want to pull out that audio, track you wanted to
I
put?
got this audio on it.
What do you got here?
I'm going to play. This is the very first time that we actually printed a manuscript to look at, because I said to Mike, we've been looking at this and vetting it and editing it on the computer, and we would do it as best we could and send it off to Dorothy Millen, who's the main editor for our book, and so the very first time I said, Mike, it's going to be a different feeling when you get that manuscript in your hands. But it wasn't. I gave it to him. We went up to Staples and I passed it to him and he leafed through it. I drove down and dropped him off at his house. I went up around the cul-de-sac to turn around, and when I got back, Mike was standing in the driveway with the manuscript over his head and beaming.
Like the Stanley Cup.
Just like the Stanley Cup.
So I'm gonna bring it back and make it about me for just a second, because the night that happened, Randy was in my driveway, in my porch, buying my book. Because we're friends. We have a friend in common, Larry Brazel, who's been wonderful support. And he introduced Randy to my work. And Randy came over and picked up a copy of How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking. And he was standing in my porch telling me, and I got chills from my hair to my toenails, that this person had written this book and was so excited to see a printed copy. And I said, Randy, I have to see this.
We
book.
have to help.
And this would not have been possible. I have to say this. This would not have been possible. There's one person who may really, and I'm really putting myself out on the limb when I say this. There's one person who really did help me along. And you know who that is. And it's Randy Crane. So Randy, thank you very much. You were the person who picked it up. You went with it, and you might want to add the process that we had.
Mike, it was a labour of love for both of us. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
This is the closest I'm ever going to come to writing a book. So
you got this experience now.
Yeah, and this beautiful cover, and we got a band across it now because it's absolutely not
So
for
you turn
sale
around
yet.
the back. It looks like there's another basically version of the painting on the back as well.
Yeah,
With some
there's
beautiful
a
quotes
water
from
print,
some beautiful
watercolor. Yeah,
quotes from some beautiful people.
and this is
57.
basically you guys, Josh's creativity and your work.
Oh, yeah.
For making this look like this. And
Well, thanks very much.
Oh my,
And we
absolutely!
wanna thank you
And I
for
know I
that.
speak for Josh too. It's
we certainly
absolutely our
want to
pleasure.
recommend that to anybody who is in the process of writing something, to give you guys a call and see what you guys can
There's
add
a lot to it,
the
and
mix.
so instead of you guys having, so writing the manuscript is the work. That is the work. Living the life, of course, and then writing the manuscript is one of those thankless things that you'll never recoup the hours you put into writing it.
Nope.
And so for you to say to you guys, okay, so now you got to learn how to do this and this and this and this. It's such a pleasure to say, no, let us take over from here. And just let us pass you back the manuscript. Put the book in your hands, and then you don't have to worry about that stuff. And when you're in a position, I realize there are people out there who have a story to tell and $0 to spend, and that's like, hats off to you. But it is possible to publish your own book. But to be able to pass it over and leave it with people who love the material, who you can trust and who can handle it. I love working with Josh. So I need to say thank you to you guys for give me a chance to work with Josh. This is amazing. I didn't have to leave my basement.
Excellent job there, isn't it?
Yeah, there's
book.
a few pictures that we thought would add. It's not full of pictures. There's a few pictures that we thought would add to the stories.
Yeah.
And Josh managed to put those exactly where we needed them.
Yeah.
And
the maps look great on the front.
and they do the job. And
The maps in the front are gorgeous.
And the other thing is the print. The print. My particular audience, I would say, is between the age of 8 and 98. 8 and 98. So
That's a good range.
I hope I haven't left anybody out. And it's an audience of people from LA to London, and from Melbourne to Toronto, and from Cappahayden to Brigus South, and South Derry. It's kind of a,
Nice.
anybody who can read will want to read, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, will enjoy this. What do you think yourself, Randy?
Oh yes, and it's going to be available under different formats. Vickie,
So the pictures in the print copy are black and white, but in the ebook it's going to be full color. And actually, we've got some pictures from way back when. I think when cameras were first invented. Is that about back that far, Mike?
Mike is a kind of a fellow who will hide his talent under a bushel basket,
Yes,
but
yeah.
he's going to have to get over that and promote this because it's an excellent book.
So the goal is to put it wherever someone wants to read it. It's going to be right under their hand and they can pick it up.
Yes.
So ebook
Well, that's good,
and
that's good.
and paperback is going to be beautiful. And so we're looking at. I'm not sure about a date yet. So we're looking at right now. We're just coming into May. I can't imagine it'll be much longer before it is actually available. And so we'll try to get it in all the bookstores, and of course it'll be on Amazon and all the platforms in every country.
Wow.
Every country, when this goes live, it's going to be available absolutely everywhere. And of course, it's like you have a lot of people waiting for this book over in Ireland, where you were born, and a lot of people here in Newfoundland are waiting for it. And I think it's an appealing. I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people because, Mike, your stories are fascinating.
They're international.
It's amazing you're alive, honestly. There's so many times that it was like just, I mean, it's a worthwhile read. It really is gorgeous.
You know, because people had said to Mike, why would I want to buy a book about you? And Mike had made the mistake of saying, this book is about me, but this book is not about Mike. Absolutely. This book is about, as Mike said when we started, a time and a place.
Right.
And just through luck or happenstance, Mike happened to pass through a lot of events that happened that affected the world during the 70s and 80s when he was a young man and moving from Ireland to Newfoundland. And that's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah.
It's not something he did, but he was certainly right there when these things happen.
And everybody has their own experiences, of course, but not everybody feels compelled to share it and write it down. And I think that's like a really special. Well, when you guys came to us, and you had a copy of a book that you liked the font in the book. You had a real eye to the reader and the listener at the end of it, who was going to like how they're going to consume your stories, and you had a real mind for keeping it interesting, keeping everybody's in on the jokes, everybody's a part of it, and you're describing things that we can't be there to see it. It was really well done in that way. And even the font, down to the font that you said, I like how this feels when I read it, and like the spacing so that it wouldn't be too small for people or, you know, too cumbersome to get through and stuff. And it was really, so we put Josh on the job for that one. He went down and tracked down the exact font.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the beauty of putting your own book together, is you can say, I want this picture on facing the chapter number. I want this in the beginning to show the maps where people are going to all the reference points, and you can put all those things in there.
You wonder how many authors really know about you know, the sort of the placement of photographs and so forth. And I think there's one thing that Randy, and I'm sure it will agree with me, is that you'll never look at a book again. And you know, the way you did prior.
Yeah.
You'll be able to see, you know where these things are, and not that you're looking. I mean, you're not looking. The overall effect is, and the cover.
Yeah.
The book cover, and as well as the book cover, you know what's between the covers is vitally important.
Yeah.
Vitally important, and you folks have been very, very, very helpful as well all along the process. You know, giving advice, giving us suggestions, type of thing, because it is, you know, as you mentioned at the outset, it's a very detailed. It's labor intensive. There's no question about it. It's a labor intensive process, and it's always. I was lucky to have Randy to bounce ideas off, and I'm still doing it.
Well, as Mike said, the student became the teacher.
Absolutely.
Mike taught me in '69, and I was lucky enough to be able to tell him a few things about writing and about putting story together. But he had.
It is a process. It is a new language. To, like, instead of telling stories in person, of course, you do the Boyle's tours.
Boyle Walk,
the Boyle Walk. It's I completely just blanked just now. Oh my God. Cut this part out. Make sure you don't put this part in.
I'll leave this in.
It is
the process, the labor-intensive process.
It is labor-intensive, but it's completely worth it. It's really nice to have it in your hands and have it the way you want it to be, and have people, like you said, who are appreciating the story. It really is a nice experience to see something come to life, and that, you know, didn't exist before. This is a whole, you know, it's a really fun thing to be a part of, and I think people are going to love it. And so, of course, I'm not sure if you're planning on taking a tour across Ireland with it, or if you're going to go out and just travel the globe with it, but I think there's probably going to be some signing events and some readings, and we'll keep an eye out for all that stuff.
And we want people, you know, get a chance to read the book and enjoy it, and that's fine. And as well as that, we'd also like people to review the book, review it. You know what you liked, what you didn't like, a type of thing like that. I think that's important, and tell your friends, and you know, we'd like the feedback.
Yeah.
Any kind of feedback that you
So
have.
anytime anyone leaves a review, it boosts it in the algorithm for Amazon and on Google and all those things. So it actually does help to let people know what you thought of it. It doesn't mean someone might read it and go, oh, well, if that's what you thought of it, I won't. It's not like that. It shows up on people's computer screens when you leave a review.
In a sense that what people might find in it something that we didn't think was there. I'm putting on my poetry hat here. That sometimes when you write a poem, somebody will find something in that poem that you really didn't know it, you were there.
Yes.
I don't know if you agree with that, Randy. Is there anything that you might want to add to that?
Well, actually, there are some poems in Mike's book, and I wasn't a fan of free verse poetry, but I tell you what,
You are now.
One I am now, and the poems completely added, unbelievably, to the story.
Absolutely.
We put them right behind the story that Mike had written them about, and it was unbelievable. So
thanks for bringing it back around. I just remembered what I was going to say, and it was two things. First of all, this is my upsell part where I'm going to say I really am interested in the poetry. If you wanted to do a book on poetry, I think it'd be very, very interesting. And also, Randy said, "Oh, I'll never write a book," and I totally disagree with that. I think there's a spark in there, and once you start doing these things, it's almost like inspiration says, "Oh, that's a safe place to land. I'm gonna target that guy again because he'll take care of this beautiful idea and he'll make sure it comes out." And you took care of it and you cultivated it and you took really good care of Mike's book. And so I think there's another book coming from Randy Green.
Yeah,
that's my thought.
Well, Randy is a singer.
Yes, very talented.
He recites. He can play an instrument. And an actor.
And a voice that would. I mean, you hear Randy say, I think you should do the audiobook for this. That's the next step for me because I think it's beautiful. But just on stage too, Randy has such a beautiful voice, and the songs the man has written will give you chills. Like it's beautiful. So to have somebody that creative, that drive, I think when it strikes. I really believe this. When inspiration finds a place to lay comfortably and safely, it goes, all right, we know to come back here. This is a good place to be. And I think we're just seeing the beginning of you guys. That's my thought.
Yeah, and the other thing of, in the sense of writing a book, the book. I know this might sound cliche. The book sort of came to me.
Absolutely.
If that makes
100%.
sense. I remember people ask me, why did you write the book?
Yeah.
Can I give a definitive answer? The only thing is it came through the poetry with the memoirs, poetry and where to go with it. So I know it's a big cliche.
It's not. It's real. And that cliches are based in things that people say over and over again. And I also... oh my God, I just drew a blank again. There's a reason that it came to you and not to somebody else. Like not everybody wants to write a book. That's not everybody's inspiration. And I think it's I don't have a flowery words for it. It shows up when you're ready. So you had already been writing your memoir. You had already been working with an editor. And then the next step showed up for you. That's really how it goes. And so, I didn't think my little book would make any kind of a difference, but it brought Randy to my doorstep. And then, I think things show up when you're ready and not before. Sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm not ready yet, or I'm a little nervous. But I don't think there's any mistakes or coincidences. It shows up when it's meant to. And I'm not a religious person. I'm not like woo woo. I guess I'm a little woo woo, but.
Yeah,
a little bit of woo-woo, but I think it shows up. The right people, you put the people in front of you that you need, and it works. There's something. Jerry Squires showing up at your school in the 70s to do I would bet my life that he did not have any intention of doing a book cover for you that day. No. It didn't even occur to him, but he was inspired to create this image of you.
And I thought, I knew Mike all my life, but I thought Mike had taught up the shore forever and ever and ever.
A lot of people do.
But he only taught there for 3 or 4 years in total. In total.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, anywhere you go on the southern shore, if Mike Boyle is there, people know him. And that's a testament to the impact he had on some very young people at that time.
Well, I hope every single person, every place that you've touched, I hope every single one of them show up and buy a copy of the book and tell their friends about it and buy it for Christmas presents. And it matters. It really matters to exchange a little bit of energy in the form of money for the book. Show up at the signings. Make sure you leave reviews on there. This is a labor of love, and so send some love back. I think it all comes back around to you. I hope everybody listening checks out. So, Mike, are you going to have a website? Where could people find, aside from Amazon?
We will be working at that, getting a website and stuff like that. Once we, finish the process there. No, we'll be getting all of that information.
Yep. And we'll promote the heck out of it.
Certainly with Amazon and in the local stores. I was around today checking a few downtown as well.
Yes, that's right.
And make it available. And
everywhere.
Readings and libraries and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, that's the next step. Isn't that exciting? I mean,
it is. Yeah,
it's been very quick. It's been very quick. This whole process has happened very quickly. But the idea that you can plug something into a laptop or a computer and a book will show up in your driveway is just bonkers to me. That you don't have to, you skip over all the hard parts. One downside is, and I'll do up this letter for you later, you don't get the letter from the publisher saying, we love your book, we want to publish it, signed, very famous publisher. But I will do one of those for you before this is all done, so we could say, Mike, we loved your manuscript, it's so great, we want to publish it for you. This congratulations. You deserve
thank
it.
you.
I hope it just is a bestseller instantly. I hope it sells billions of copies around the world. One for every person. 8 billion people. There you go.
Well, thank you very much.
I hope
Thank you and Josh for all your help,
Our pleasure.
and Randy, of course. I don't know how I'm ever going to help Randy, but thank you all for your help. I think it's and
Absolutely.
all the people who really work with the book. Randy, you want to?
Yeah, no, thanks, Josh and Vickie. You guys added to this book when we thought it was finished. You guys took it and made it that much better. Thank you very much.
Oh,
And thank
our-
you, Mike,
Thank you, Randy.
for being a friend and for having me involved in your book. Gander 1968 was a turning point in our lives for sure.
There's no mistakes. There's no mistakes.
Who would have ever thought? Who would have ever thought? You know, an amazing.
Did you guys want to go out and do a lap around our cul-de-sac now just for old times?
I don't think so.
That was 100 pounds ago, so no, I don't think so.
Well, can we get the crew outside for a look, like on a location shoot there?
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
boys. This is the Are You Mad at My podcast? Sorry, this is the Are You Mad at Me podcast. We're here every week, and we're not always as blessed as this to have such famous, wonderful writers here. So congratulations, and thanks again for being on the podcast. And Josh will be with me again, and thank you guys for being on. This is Randy Crane and Michael Boyle, and make sure you check out On New Turf. It's going to be available in the next few weeks, and of course we'll be posting it everywhere.
Thank you very much. Thank folks.
Thank you guys for watching.
Wow.
So that was Michael Boyle and Randy Crane.
Authors of On New Turf, which is going to be coming out pretty soon. We'll post links and stuff like that.
It's
on
pretty
there.
fantastic. We've read through it a couple times.
It's
and,
a really fantastic book.
Yeah, it's exciting to be a part of something that's really good.
It was disappointing to get to the end of it. Like,
Yeah.
I was really, when you're getting to like, oh, I just read these last few pages slow. Like how I'm probably going to read the new book that's coming out tomorrow, May 6th.
What's that?
Big Dumb Eyes. I'm so excited.
I can't believe it's already.
I think the
coming
announcement
out.
came out around Christmas time, shortly after, and I can't wait. I cannot wait to read it. It's just, and there's an audiobook. I'm really trying to, I think I might buy all 3 versions, because if I ordered a paperback, it's actually in hardcover, it won't be here for like 10 days, because we
That's
live
true,
on an
yeah.
island in the middle of nowhere. And the audiobook is available probably at midnight, and then there's the ebook. So I don't know. I really want to actually see it. I might get all 3. Just so you know, I might get all 3 versions.
Good to know. I'll keep
Very
that in
excited
mind.
about it. But oh man. And there was some seriously disappointing news the other day. They're like, Nate Bargatze's giving up comedy. Like, he's not. He's just in a movie with Mandy Moore.
Mandy Moore.
Very
Yeah.
exciting stuff. I'm
Yeah.
so
So
excited. I can't wait to see
Mike
that.
and Randy's book is has been a lot of fun to work on.
It has been fantastic.
Yeah.
I have enjoyed it, and you did a great job on the graphic design.
Thank you. The
And,
formatting looks fantastic.
Oh,
It's
thanks.
it's very professional.
It's a lot. The formatting is
It's a lot of work.
I think whoever invented Microsoft might not be, might be kind of evil, because it's like you move something and then everything is affected, and putting pictures in. Going from a paperback to an ebook is kind of a nightmare project, because you can kind of cut and paste, and it's almost like using construction paper. You can put things in place and do like 15 enters to get things to go where you want to. But when you're doing the ebook, it has to be exactly
Yeah.
right. So the section breaks, like for a chapter to start on a new page, it has to be exactly right.
So you know that formatting for the paperback, forward thinking, you can go ahead and make it
Yeah,
easier
no.
on yourself.
No.
No, still
No,
have to.
100%. No,
Still
I
ton of
thought
work.
that too, and it's like no, because to get things to line up, it needs to be kind of
So it's like
'cause-
two different books.
well, essentially the paperback you do it in Word but it's a PDF, so it's like a picture of all the pages,
Right.
so it doesn't matter how you got there. But with the actual ebook,
Ebooks are a little bit more dynamic.
Yeah.
You can move stuff around.
and maybe they're easier if you don't do the paperback first. Maybe that's
That's a good
different.
point.
Maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should go back to the original document. But anyway, we're figuring these things out as we
Yeah.
go. But the ebooks are technically they're very easy. They cost literally nothing to
Yeah.
produce. Like, you type it in your Word document. You can get I sent somebody to KDP just last night. I sent her to Kindle Create because she keeps a log of poems on her phone. She's been writing poems for years, and they are fantastic.
Wow.
And she's got just one document of all poetry, hundreds of poems. I said, if you go to Kindle Create, again, I don't work for Kindle or Amazon. I would love to. Please sponsor us. But you can go to Kindle Create and just put in your Word document, and it'll format it. Or you can type it right into the program. It's very, very user-friendly, and it's meant for people who, with no budget at all, want to publish a book. And you can
Right.
create an ebook and have it within 3 or 4 days. It can be approved and for sale on Amazon.
Yeah.
So
that's
whatever
pretty amazing.
whether you're planning funerals or beekeeping or want to put a bunch of recipes in the one place, it's fantastic. It's a calling card. It's like a way to say, here's the thing I know about. Here's here's what I can tell you about it. And you don't need to know every single thing. Like you said, coming from your perspective is very unique. And if it's crossed your mind to do that, it's, I think, something you should really trust. Because I think, here's this new concept. I read this the other day on an Instagram meme. What do you call them? Is it a meme?
Yeah.
Somebody out there is manifesting you. That blows my mind. When I think about information that just shows up at the right time, it's like, yeah, because it's possible that somebody out there is listening. And I know when we had Blaine Clemens on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, he was like, yeah, you say that thing. And I was like, wait, what? Someone listened to what I talk about?
And you say that all the time to potential clients too. Like this, there's somebody out there that is waiting for this book to be in their library. Like they need this information that you have, or they want that time that they're going to spend in the book. And it's just, they're just waiting for you to write it. They might not know it yet, but they're just waiting for you to have that thing prepared so they can have it
in that format.
Yeah.
I think trusting the process, like if you are ready to believe that you're inspired from whatever you believe in, this is not a religious podcast, but wherever it comes from, if you trust it enough to let it come out on your document or let it come out on your piece of paper, letting it just die on the table is kind of like, why don't you believe in it enough to put it in people's hands?
Right.
Like, why? Because you just could have kept it in your head. You didn't need to write it even down. Just whatever and just move on. But if you are trusting that process and trusting that you are important enough to deliver this thing that didn't exist before, it's the next few steps to say, I could at least put it on a free website, start a blog, do an ebook for free, or I don't know. There's lots of ways to reach people, and the connection that you get, which I think is the biggest thing of all, the connection when you find people who resonate with what you've shared. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be a horrible story. It can be a terrible childhood. It can be a trauma that you've survived or whatever. People, like, it matters. It helps people. And maybe you're maybe you're so down and depressed that you think, who would ever care about what I'm writing, or how would I ever help anybody? Yeah. You're exactly the person that needs to reach out. Like, that's exactly who should be writing, because there are other people feeling exactly the same way who are like, looking at a bottle of pills and going, should I or shouldn't I? That's exactly the person that I want to hear from. I don't want to hear from somebody who is like,
got all their shit together.
Exactly. Little Miss Sunshine. Everything's great every single day. Like, yeah, I can't talk to a person like that. But if you want to talk to somebody who has lost a baby and needed to put a picture of her kids on the dashboard so she didn't drive into oncoming traffic, I can hear that. When I sat in grief support, every single woman at the table said the exact same thing. I think about killing myself every day. It was the same story. And when one person said it, everybody went, oh my God, you too? It was, those first few months after are brutal. Absolutely brutal. But if I didn't know that, if somebody hadn't shared that, if I hadn't read that in other people's blogs and books, I would have felt crazy. Yeah. Like, oh my God, I'm a mom. How can I have that thought? But it's totally natural after a loss, because the hormones are crazy and you feel like your life is over. But it gets better. And if you don't know that, you might take a different route. You might not know that it's okay to feel that way and it's normal and you'll get better. And that it, 5, 10 years, 15 years out, you might get back to a regular life. You might, it's not as debilitating as it started. Anyway, I'm on a soapbox again.
That's a good, you're a great, compassionate and supportive and encouraging person to have on somebody's team.
All right, so we're going to get all emotional and mushy here, because I'm going to throw it back to you, and I'm going to say the only reason, and maybe I manifested you in my life, I don't know, but the only reason I'm in a position to help anybody else is because you helped me. And that's just it. Like, I said to somebody the other day that you have mastered the art of mopping me up off the floor. Because it's like, that's, as long as we're not both on the floor at the same time, we're going to be fine.
Yeah, that's important.
But it really is, like, surround yourself with people who make you feel good. And the people who don't
deserve your time.
I don't mean to be all like, oh, I know everything now because I had a health scare. I mean, I'm still in it.
I don't think anybody's taking it like that.
Like, oh, she knows now. She's seen the other. No, nothing like that. It's just
she's seen the other side.
Seen the other side. You know those people that come back from near-death experiences? Like, they're like, oh, they must know something. And they're like, yeah, but that doesn't make any difference in my day right now, and it doesn't make me feel better. So I hope at some point, I don't know who needs to hear it. Tell your story. Write the book. Paint the picture. Bake the bread, knit the thing, crochet the Afghan, whatever it is. Like, it's creating something that isn't here right now that you're bringing into the world, whether it's a baby or a, I don't know.
Book?
or a book
Song,
or an ebook or a
poem.
song or just that. Like I'm all over the place creatively. I just feel like I have all this stuff to do, and it's like I don't think it's because I'm dying. I think it's just I think I needed something to push me in that direction because just 3 weeks ago I was going to take a job that where they were like, do you really need to make that much money? Do you really need your kids there? And okay, I'm going to go on one more rant and then we're good for the podcast this week,
right.
okay? Women might need accommodations to do their best work. It's not a mental illness. It's not a deficiency. It's not a disability. Sometimes women have maybe just had a baby and they are breastfeeding. They can still do a lot of good stuff, but they might need a safe room on a set to breastfeed. They might need to be able to take an hour for lunch or maybe an hour and a half for lunch so that they can go be with their child for whatever reason. Or like I would like to create a space and projects where it's okay to be a woman. So in my case, here I am functioning really well, doing really well. I have a diagnosis from 15 years ago almost 15 years ago. And to be fair, the doctor gave me a diagnosis of PTSD, probably because he wanted the insurance to keep paying for sessions. I was at the end of the sessions. I think it was through the EAP program.
Yeah.
And we got to the end of them, and the only way to keep going was for him to diagnose me with something, because I'm doing pretty good. I just lost my train of thought, so obviously this is where it comes in. What was my point?
Making a safe place for women to be creative and do their work.
There might need to be a few tweaks with how women are supported in workplaces, because what you're missing out on when you say, oh, you want your kids nearby. So that job that I was offered a few weeks ago was an hour outside of town. I don't have a car. So I'm giving up control, letting somebody else drive. I can't leave if I need to. And I'm not driving. I've had car accidents. I do not do well in the passenger side. I really don't. I need to have feet on the pedals. I like being in the driver's seat. So that alone, what I would have had to do to get to that job for an hour up and an hour back. Like, okay, if something happens to the kids while I'm away, I'm an hour away, and not a quick hour, not highway miles, like
Yeah.
curvy back roads. But the impression was that I was somehow broken. That I wasn't, the package that we could have provided, I hope this is helpful to somebody, because it's just me whining to you.
There's
really.
somebody out there manifesting this right now.
We are a very good team, and what we bring to the table is marketing, communication. Like, I have multiple degrees and many years of experience. We have a graphic designer with a heart of gold who makes people feel so good to be around him. I mean you, Josh Morgan.
Oh, cool.
The skills that we were bringing to that table, and all we needed was to not be like you. We couldn't both go, but they needed us. I mean, there's no question they needed us.
100%.
And we were going to do about 7 jobs when they were only going to pay us for 2 and pay minimum wage. So let's work together and maybe find a place for us to stay in place so we could bring it was a folk festival. It was a folk event. What's more folk than a family moving into a little outport town and immersing themselves in the culture? We would have been available all week to do whatever. It was just, the fight was like, you know what?
You were trying to drag money out of them, and you don't deserve that.
Well, it was just undervalued. And it was like this deficiency of, but you're a mom, you need your kids nearby. No. I don't need them nearby. I could go do the job. Absolutely, I could. I'm confident, of course.
But how much better would you feel doing that job?
But they're getting 50% of me because my heart's somewhere else, and I'm scared constantly. I'm scared on the drive. I'm scared when I'm out there. And my kids they can't come, knock on the door and say, hey, Mom, where are the Pop-Tarts? Like, okay, but what you get on the other side of that mom is, there's a lot of benefits. And this is tooting my own horn. Tootly toot, toot, toot. But underselling, undervaluing yourself. Underselling is not the right word. Undervaluing yourself and going, you know what? I mean, I don't have another job offer, so I might as well take this. But it was just so heartbreaking. Like, why am I arguing for my value? All I want is my family. And I'm not saying, like, and you got to feed them all while I'm there, and you got to, it was we're going to be in the show and do the marketing and the graphic design. And it was still a fight. I'm like, you know what? Forget it. Keep it. I hope your show goes well, but I won't be there for it. And I can't believe we went over an hour again. I want to keep going.
Go ahead.
Bye. I like those little breaks because they kind of give me a chance to go, am I getting
Just
upset?
take a breath.
Yeah, take a breath.
So
what was my point? Oh, that there are safer workspaces. There
Right.
are accommodating workspaces, and treating a woman like she is somehow. And also, even if I did have a disability and it needed accommodation so I could do a good job, that's okay too.
Oh, yeah.
It really
100%.
is. Like, there's so much lost on we can't put a ramp in, or we can't do whatever. We can't have interpretive services. We can't have an ASL interpreter, or we can't put something in a bigger font, or put it in an e-reader, or the simplest little things that make jobs easier to do
Right.
for someone who has brilliant ideas. And I don't mean I'm brilliant or that my ideas are brilliant.
You
It's
are,
just that accommodation. It wasn't even an accommodation. It was a package deal that they didn't see the value on.
Yep.
So before they had a chance to, they may have, if I had given it more time, if I had let it cultivate a little bit more, maybe they would have come back with an offer. But that was the first thing I thought of the other day when the doctor called. It was like, if I had taken that job, that would be the first thing I would cancel.
That'd be the first thing to go.
Yep, it would have been, because it just didn't feel good. And so very free for the summer, but we've got a bunch of projects going on. And my intention, I hope someone calls me out on this one of these days if I don't stick to this, but my intention is to create spaces for people of all abilities and all genders, and get the best out of them.
Yeah,
and
it's beautiful.
Champion that, because it's I feel like they missed out. I really do. I think it would have been a great show. I think we would have done a great job with it, and we would have done a whole lot of, and it doesn't matter. Who cares? Nobody's keeping track. That's like saying, this thing makes colds last less days. Like, how can you tell? There's no scientific way to know that. Oh, I could hear it. I could just hear a few people going, wait, what did she just say? Yeah. And before you send in the comments and say, that's not science, it is. We both have master's degrees in science.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the empirical method, and that's how research is done. And it's actually impossible to prove that it would have been longer if you hadn't taken zinc.
It's possible to insinuate.
You can infer,
Imply.
but there's no way to know what would have happened. So that's what I'm saying. We could have flopped. It might not have been great. Maybe they dodged a bullet. I don't know. Maybe there's what a thing I just said. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I think if they watch this podcast, they're going to go, we did dodge a bullet. Look at her, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, there's lots of other stuff out there.
That's
and
right.
the right things feel good. That's how you know.
Yep.
Also, check these out. I
Brand new shoes.
I found these at the mall today. Walked through the mall.
One of the best
Perfect
things.
size.
One of the best things: getting new shoes and wearing them around the house because they're clean and you haven't worn them yet.
Boom. My favorite color, in my size 3s. They were at the mall. The guy comes out from the counter and he goes, I'm sorry, we've only got them in a size 3. And I went, yes, bye.
Let's take them.
So I didn't wear them out of the store because I wanted to wear them around the house. But I'm very happy. These are my celebration shoes because we finished Mike Boyle's book today.
Woohoo.
And very excited about that. And lots of good things on the horizon.
Yeah.
Get writing. Get
And,
at it.
We got more interviews on the podcast coming up. So
Oh my God!
So come back next week.
I have completely gotten into my own world here. Hannah Slay,
we'll be here next week.
my favorite girl, my favorite comedian. And she's Canadian. Oh, and she is a fountain of figuring it out. Like she is doing it, and how she's doing it with such young kids is beyond me, because she's years ahead of me, because it took me a long time to get around to. I'll just squeeze out a few minutes here and there, and she's hilarious. She's absolutely hilarious.
It's going to be a fun interview.
I can't wait to talk to her. She's going to be awesome. So thanks to Mike and Randy for being on the podcast. This is Are You Mad at Me? I'm Vickie Morgan.
And I'm Josh Morgan.
And it is always a pleasure. We love you guys so much. Thank you for listening. And, tell somebody about it. Or not. Whatever. Let's just keep it between us. This is fine. It's fine.
We'll see you next week.
See ya.